Good morning and welcome to the new edition of Dr. Lamba's Awakening Call. On Thursday, an event took place that has made the world and the politicians around the world wake up in amazement. Two traditional enemies, two sworn enemies have made it up. Is it the advent of honeymoon? Is it just the changing geopolitics? Or is it an achievement of President Trump through his son-in-law Jared Kushner? The news that Israel and United Arab Emirates on Thursday agreed to establish full diplomatic relations is a stunning news. There's no love lost between the Arabs and the Jews. So this news, when it came, that there has been a US broker deal, it has on the one side stopped Israel from annexing occupied West Bank. On the other side, it has been made clear that Israel as an entity is now accepted by the Arabs. Undeniably, earlier, Egypt and Jordan had accepted this reality. But with the UAE accepting it and with Saudi Arabia winking at it from the sidelines, with two other countries likely to join this honeymoon in the next few days, is something which is really a game changer. Interestingly, as I said, it was Trump's son-in-law, Jared Kushner, who led the security effort, and UAE formally recognized Jewish state of Israel. And this announcement would be made formally in the White House. And in the next 3 weeks, the representatives, possibly Prime Minister Netanyahu and the head of UAE would come to Washington to sign the deal. It will have an impact globally, but especially in the Middle East. Now, people are unable to comprehend the implications. This small action, apparently small because UAE is not a major player in the global geopolitics, has two important subtexts. The first is very clear that USA has been committed to ensuring the safety of Israel and to ensure its qualitative security and military edge it maintained against the adversaries. In this context, only those nations which formally recognized Israel were given US arms. And naturally, that included Egypt and Jordan after they signed the agreement. USA provided Egypt with advanced weaponry only after President Anwar Sadat made peace with Israel. Likewise, Jordan did not get F-16 until King Hussein concluded a treaty with Israel and formally recognized USA. Now, UAE has been interested in US weaponry, especially drones and high-tech weaponry. They were not getting it. So the idea is to push through the concept that there are significant advantages for the Arab nations to improve their ties with Tel Aviv. And given the fact, now here comes a very interesting corollary. Given the fact that there are fraternal relationships between UAE and Saudi Arabia, it's very safe to assume that the deal will be accepted by Saudi Arabia and Saudi Crown Prince Salman will consider similar arrangements with Israel. The long-term benefits will be significant. UAE will have to deal with immediate fallout of the rise in hostilities. The other Middle East countries, especially Iran, Turkey, who are absolutely fanatic, would oppose UAE. There can be a problem. But then Saudi Arabia is a very strong power. Now, the second subtext is the region's dynamics. Middle East has been a witch's cauldron, always boiling, very volatile, and it's likely to have new alignments. And in politics, when the new alignments are there, it changes the shape of the things world over. For example, imagine if India and Pakistan were to bury the hatchet and come to a sort of understanding. 80% of the arms industry in the world would have to close down. If India and China were to join hands, they would be number one superpower in the world today. And people would be currying favors in New Delhi and in Beijing, not in Washington, not in Berlin, not in London. So the whole thing is going to change, and the fresh alignment would see growing friendship between Tehran and Beijing. China is very keen to preserve its and deepen its presence in the region. They signed a deal recently, 18-page deal between Iran and China, with the result that India was kicked out of Iran's famous port deal. And they are going to have greater access to China and closer ties. The Sino-Iran deal, the Chinese deal, is bound to change the geopolitics dimension of the region. China has now, imagine, China on the one side is arresting Uyghur Muslims. On the other side is throwing its weight behind predominantly Shia Iran. And that rich Gulf state, being Sunni, are opposed to it. So the fight between Shia and Sunnis, represented by Wahhabi Saudi Arabia, UAE, Jordan, and all that, and Sunni Iran, Shia Iran. So they are fighting with each other, and China is like a typical proverbial monkey fishing in the troubled waters. So China is attempting to open a front in the Middle East to distract USA from its activities in South China Sea. So to protect its claim in South China Sea, it will create trouble in Middle East. So USA pays more attention over in Middle East, and then China can gobble up South China Sea. So this is the game China is playing. And now when the Israel-UAE deal is signed, USA has new power access in the region. As I said earlier, US is the third Arab nation to recognize Israel. Egypt recognized in 1979, Jordan in 1994, and now comes, and the deal is bilateral and it's a huge deal. It all ties in investment, tourism, direct flight, security, telecommunications, technology, energy, healthcare, culture, and environment. Is anything left out? I don't think so. Now, there has been a lot of carping noise from the Palestinians. President Abbas of Palestinian Authority called it a betrayal by UAE. And they reject the deal. But then it's like that two people are marrying and the third person says, no, I don't accept that marriage. What difference does it make? That is just peevishness and an act of desperation. The Palestinian leadership rejects and denounces the UAE, Israel, and US trilateral surprising is a betrayal of Jerusalem, Al-Aqsa, and Palestinian cause, he says. Okay. But then, isn't enlightened self-interest the largest motivating factors? And that's come to play here. Hamas calls it stabbing in the back of our people. And they're forgetting that Israel had committed that they will annex the West Bank. So when UAE has made Israel agree not to do it, it's a big achievement. And UAE is going to use it to enhance its influence in Arab states. Look here, I ensure that the West Bank is not annexed. And Netanyahu had floated this plan recently. It means this plan that Israel will claim sovereignty on all land in the West Bank on which Jewish settlements have come up. And this destroys the Palestinian state. So by this agreement, UAE has helped Palestinian state at least to keep its pretension of being an independent state. It's another matter that Netanyahu might not have gone ahead with the annexation plan. But now, by agreeing to it, he has allowed UAE to talk it up with the Arab allies as a major concession. And Netanyahu himself can project himself abroad as a person of peace, as a person who is reasonable, who for the sake of friendship is willing to go his claim on the land. And there's no denying the fact that the extreme pro-annexation lobby in Israel, and that's angry. So how have the Arab states reacted? Now this is very interesting. Saudi Arabia has said nothing, although earlier Prince Turki Al Faisal had condemned it. He had done it in January. But King Prince Suleiman hasn't done it, and he is a friend of Trump and very close to Jared Kushner. And Jared Kushner is President Trump's point man in Middle East. And so there is a speculation that UAE would not have taken this decision without the support of Prince Suleiman. And as a matter of fact, both USA and Israel have assured Shia Muslims to give them help against Sunni Iran. So the inner conflict between the Shias and Sunnis on the one side is being propped up by China, on the other side by USA. But then this strengthens Shias. Now Oman and Bahrain have already accepted UAE's agreement with Israel, and you can be sure in the next few days, maybe even before the agreement is signed in White House, these two states might sign a similar agreement with Israel. So, if the Arab states fall in line and all the Sunni nations in the region would then be forming an anti-Iran alliance with Israel. Secretly, they wanted it because Shias are more afraid of the Sunnis. So all the Sunnis would come together and Israel will be supporting them in anti-Iran. Iran and its proxies in Syria, Lebanon, Hezbollah, Hamas, Houthis in Yemen have been broken. ISIS and Al-Qaeda and Hezbollah, they call Israel number one. But now with a domestic backlash in Lebanon, there is no hope of reconciliation between Shias and Sunnis. And imagine, till now Russia, a staunch ally of Syria, has not reacted, and neither has China. So deal will send ripples through the other parts of the world. In South Asia, what's Pakistan going to do? Pakistan has already annoyed Saudi Arabia, and Saudi Arabia recalled the loan which it has given. Would Pakistan also sign an agreement with Israel? You remember when President Musharraf was there, he wanted to sign it, but he did not sign it because he was afraid of the popular backlash. So Pakistan may not immediately do it because of the fear. But the government of Imran Khan, who knows that it's to be accused of being part Jewish conspiracy. He was married to the daughter of a Jewish billionaire. And he has still some soft corner for that. But then Pakistan's dilemma is that if he agrees to be friendly with Israel, then people of Pakistan would think that they are betraying Kashmir because they always equate Kashmir with Palestine. So if they accept that Israel is okay, then ipso facto, India is okay. India is doing justified action. So how do they abandon the Islamic cause in Kashmir the moment they sign an agreement with Israel? But then UAE is a good friend of Pakistan. Pakistan has already annoyed Saudi Arabia by showing its teeth at the OAC when it did not agree to hold a special session on Kashmir. Result, they have to return $3.2 billion in the line of credit, which has been frozen. And the repayment has been made. So, what does Pakistan do? Middle East, you can be sure that Shia-Sunni divide is going to be on a clear demarcated lines. And that would be backed by USA on one side, China and Russia on the other. Now, what does Trump gain? Trump has gained a lot. His attempts were not very successful in Korea. Afghanistan peace process is still struggling on the field. US-China relationship is on the rocks. But the UAE-Israeli agreement is going to be a shaking event, as I said. It will give rise to, including isolation of Iran, and it's already being heralded in US as an achievement. So much so that Joe Biden, Vice President of Obama, who were deadly against Israel, they were missing no opportunity. They were helping Iran, even the nuclear deal, and billions of dollars they invested. Now Joe Biden, he knew that in case he criticizes this deal, people will go against him. So he said, yes, it's a historic step. He has accepted this. The acceptance by Joe Biden of the great impact of this deal is a telling thing. And UAE, there is a feverish speculation that who is going to be the next to follow UAE. As I said, Bahrain is next in line. And then Donald Trump would have another apple falling in his lap. Then Abu Dhabi. And followed that by Riyadh. Pakistan, I've told you, is between the devil and the deep sea. Musharraf era time, they wanted to do it in 2005, I know that. But the public mood wasn't there. So, the history of Israel-Arab relationship, when all the Arab countries, 22 countries invaded Israel and were defeated. But then Rabin tied up with Jordan, began tied up with Egypt, and Netanyahu has tied up with UAE. Undeniably, this behind the scene activities which have been going on for quite some time, prompted by Jared Kushner, with a clear green light from President Trump, have changed the scenario in the Middle East. This is pretty much like both the countries have had not so secret contacts, but this heralds a new era in the Middle East, and it's going to shake the geopolitics of the region and the world in general. And maybe it helps Trump trounce Joe Biden soundly. But it's an interesting change for once. Let's see what future has in line for it. Nevertheless, politics is ever-changing game. There are no permanent friends and no permanent enemies. And this agreement has shown that even sworn enemies like Israelis, the Jews, and the Muslims could come together and sign this overall all-embracing agreement, which is, as I said earlier, a game changer. Thank you.